beautiful, crisp, late or early summer day with what was like 60 degrees outside. I'm not really sure what's happening. Anyhow, so the previous meeting was December 19th of 2025. As for some of you who's uh, this is the first attendance to these meetings, we hold these meetings twice a year. Uh, Once the second quarter of the year, and then the second time is the fourth quarter of the year. So the last time we had this meeting was December. The next time we'll be having this meeting again will be in December of 2026. So the minutes from the last meeting were communicated. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns about those minutes should be brought up today? Hey, Mark, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. We just barely got started, so yeah, I didn't miss much. So okay, seeing no questions, comments, or concerns on those, we'll move forward with administrative updates. So to provide, start with the SLDS grants. Just a reminder that the operational considerations for the bridge grant is that it was moved from October of 2023 through September of 2027. That's the full duration of the grant period of time or performance. And progress on that is that there was some federal budget impacts at the um, federal education level. And so therefore we're behind on progress on that. We went from a team of 10 plus to just two individuals. And unfortunately, one of those two individuals who was assisting us on the master person index algorithm component had to leave the project. The third party vendor that we utilized to assist us in building out Bridge was bought out by another third party vendor, and unfortunately, their contract conflicted with the new employee rules and regulations of the third party vendor. And so they had to leave the project and leave the company. So we were able to get a new resource through Burwood, but unfortunately, that resource had to obviously be onboarded to the project and onboarded into this very specific component of the project. So that took time and effort, and obviously development time as well. So as of June, the delay in the progress is not an emergency. However, it is significant and material, and we'll need to obviously significantly hurry in the next months to catch up and ameliorate that deficit. So, but again, not an emergency at this time. So, and Jay will provide further update in his technology update on where we're at with Bridge in the future. So that's where we're at with the development work for the Bridge transactional system. I'll provide now an update on the legal framework, which is what is going to allow us to execute the operational goals of Bridge legally. So because of SB 195, obviously the impact there was that we are allowed to undertake the operational activities that we defined under the Bridge project. So generally speaking, this will allow us to onboard participating state agencies. As we have previously stated, Bridge is a voluntary data system that we are going to be creating and building. It is not like the UDRC legacy system where the data partners are defined by code. Bridge is voluntary. So we are in the process of rulemaking. So per 190, SB 195, we had to create rulemaking rules or verbiage or define the verbiage of the rulemaking for the SB 195, specifically related to the legal framework that we were going to create an institute for Bridge. So the update there is that the draft administrative rules that's completed. We sent it out to our data partners for review. So that was all of you here. And we gave this group until July 15th to provide feedback, if any. So we're waiting for that time to elapse. And then we will finalize the verbiage by August 1st. And then we will be seeking approval by the USHI board on the September 2026 Board of Higher Education um, board meeting. So after that, hopefully, obviously, it passes and they approve of it, and then we will publish the rule as completed at that point in time. So, any questions, comments, or concerns about that rulemaking process, the verbiage? Okay. Moving along the administrative updates, I do have some really good news about new forthcoming data to the UDRC legacy system. So, and I the latest news, most up to date on the home visiting program here is that we actually did receive that today. So it's been signed and it's all completed. So we'll be moving forward with coordinating with the Department of Health and Human Services in receiving that data in the coming weeks. So the home visiting program is a program that is supported by the Department of Health and Human Services. Dakota, do you want maybe I've kind of provided here a boilerplate definition of home visiting program, but maybe you probably do a more justice in providing a definition for what the home visiting program is.
Yeah, sure thing. So their home visiting is a very general term. So the home visiting program that's specific to the Office of Early Childhood over at DHHS is the McV funded home visiting, which is the Maternal Infant Early Childhood Home Visiting Grant through the feds under HRSA. And we are in almost every county in the state. We're missing just a couple, but those consist of the Parents as Teachers program, the Family Spirit program, the Nurse Family Partnership program, and soon to be MESH, Maternal Early Childhood Sustained Home Visiting, which is another nurse-based home visiting model. All of the models are focused on providing home visiting services to parents with children either prenatal or age 0 to 5 to support them on their parenting journey and make sure those kids are as ready for kindergarten and school and future school success as possible. And they do a lot of different screening work, lots of connecting with different resources. But at the end of the day, it is about supporting those parents to become the best parents they can possibly be for their children.
Great. Yeah. So we're really excited. So some of you may be aware that Department of Health and Human Services manages the eKid system or early education system. Um, this is part of a collaboration between us and eKids in receiving more and more of the same data that they receive. And eKids focuses on analytics, on reporting, and UDRC obviously focuses on research. And so it's sort of synergistic, the work that we're doing, whereas they're focused more on operations, questions that the operations might have. We focus more on research, policy questions that the sort of early education world may have. So, looking forward to obviously receiving that data in the coming weeks, and integrating into our system and obviously making it available for our own researchers as well as external researchers for to conduct research in that realm. So, moving along to other data sets that we will be receiving. We are also in coordination with the Department of Health and Human Services in receiving the All Payers Claims Database. We're very, very excited about this data set. It contains data from health insurance carriers, including Medicaid and third-party administrators here in the state of Utah. These data are very holistic and include everything from diagnoses and treatments to cost of care, location of care, and so on. If I remember correctly, the table is 1,500 variables wide. So it's incredibly detailed as to the amount of information that is included in there. Where are we with this one is that we have drafted an addendum to the master MOU for the Department of Health and Human Services, and they're in the process right now of reviewing that and hopefully signing it and then sending it back to us for signatures. So at that point in time. So then the last data set that we are additionally coordinating with DHHS to receive is the hospital facilities database. So this is similar to the All Payers Claims database, but from the hospital side of things. So it has records for all licensed hospitals, emergency rooms, and ambulatory surgery centers in Utah, inpatient records date from 1992 and other encounters from 1996. They represent all hospitalizations, emergency department visits, and ambulatory surgeries and diagnosis procedures performed in Utah, regardless of payer. So again, similarly, we have communicated to Department of Health and Human Services an addendum to the master MOU. They're reviewing, hopefully signing and then sending back to us for signatures. So super excited about receiving all of this new data here at the UDRC. The All Payers Claims Database will be a huge game changer for the sort of research questions we might be able to answer and ask as well. So an example might be we have ASQ data from DHHS as well. We see a child receiving a screening. We might be able to see also that they subsequently received diagnoses, and then we will be able to link that into their K through 12 performance and be able to answer questions and ask questions that we had never been able to before in the past. So really excited about that. So any questions, comments, or concerns about those data sets that are coming to the UDRC here and hopefully in the next month or two. So, okay. In addition, we wanted to provide an update on some data that we're pursuing. So this is not a guarantee that we just wanted to communicate to this group about data that we are looking to receive, and we're coordinating with the Department of Health and Human Services on this one as well. So we're looking to receive Head Start data. Again, this is part of receiving more of the same data that eKids receives to support their efforts and also ours. So Dakota has been really instrumental in connecting us with the Head Start associations. And we've just, at the very, very beginning stages of this whole process of reaching out to them and asking if we'd be able to present to them our value proposition for receiving data into the UDRC system. So this is very, very early stages. They could ultimately say no, we're not interested, and that'd be perfectly fine. But we wanted to provide an update to this group that we are pursuing that data as well. So okay, those are all the administrative updates I had. I'm going to pass it over to Jay now for the technology update. Jay?
Hello, everyone. My update starts with UDRC legacy system, which is the backbone of UDRC bridge. So currently, my team and I are maintaining and supporting the existing operational and research needs for legacy, and any upgrades to the cloud architecture or any components within legacy system are being provided as and when needed. But with this, I also wanted to provide an update on the legacy MPI. So the legacy MPI is something that we've worked on or created for the needs of legacy research purposes. It continues to support the existing matching process for legacy MPI, but the data is de-identified in the legacy MPI, but it is not designed for a high cadence transactional data transfer system. So we have had to re-engineer the MPI process for Bridge, which will be able to support a more faster matching for transactional data system, faster validation, quicker movement of data between projects of Google Cloud Platform, and will also be able to support for edge case individual matching in case of bridge data request. So we are trying to create a much faster system, a transactional data system for Bridge, but legacy MPI is going to provide us the foundational golden record data set, which is going to be the authoritative person record and remains a critical foundation for identity resolution and person level data matching for Bridge. With this, these are all the updates for UDRC legacy system. Jeremiah, if we can go to the next slide. Uh, Now I will continue on the UDRC bridge updates. UDRC bridge has several layers of development ongoing. The first one is the foundation for all bridge operation, which is the GCP environment. Uh, Over the last few months, we have completed most of the deployments of uh, design, development, and testing of the GCP environment for Bridge, and most of the core environment architecture, including the application services, networking, identity access management, and integration of the different layers within the GCP environments have been completed. I think overall we are tracking at around 79% completion according to our Project Forge document for the GCP environment of Bridge. And currently we have certain items open still in terms of GCP environment, which includes the documentation of the final environment variables, a final security completion, and closeout UAT before it's ready for production. From GCP environment, I will move on to the data services, which is the backbone of all data ingestion, storage, and data flows within into Bridge and out of Bridge system. Most of the data services have been completed when Borwood was completely onboarded with UDRC. So we are tracking at around 85% completion with the Project Forge for data services. And with the code design and development complete, we are just awaiting some of the integration with the other layers of Bridge applications. So some security implementation, documentation, and testings are remain open for the data services in terms of Bridge development. If you can go to the next slide, Jeremiah. This is the MPI services where most of which has been a major area of focus for us over the last few months. So we are designing and developing Bridge as a request servicing workflow. So first, when a request comes into Bridge, we will be identifying whether that person exists in the golden record. And if that person exists in the golden record, then we will be validating the source data set from where the information has been retrieved into the golden record. If the source data set and the data partner are participating in Bridge, only then the request will be serviced for the end users. Otherwise, they will be displayed a message that this data cannot be displayed currently as the partner data is not participating with Bridge right now. So this is overarching design for Bridge, which we are following in terms of supplying the data set for anyone who is requesting the data set. So with this in mind, we have completed the core batch foundation work for the algorithm, the CI/CD setup to test and implement the code as we are iteratively processing the data for all of the data from all of the data partners, and some of the pre-processing and BigQuery setup has been completed. Major work also is going on with the linkage of individuals. So let's say an individual is coming with first name, last name, and social security number from one data partner and slightly different information from another data partner. So we are trying to match these individuals or these edge cases so that our probabilistic and deterministic matching pipelines are able to provide the result set in a much faster process and with a much better confidence interval, so that the data that we are supplying is the data that the user needs. And with this, we are also designing and developing a golden record. So golden record is going to be the spine of the bridge data system and also going to be supporting the legacy system in a de-identified research data sets, while the bridge system will have a PII bearing information so that anyone requesting any information can be quickly matched against that and be able to request that service so that the user can receive their results. So that's all the updates for MPI services. With the API and the AMS services, which are interlinked, the API development is currently going on. We are currently going through the design phase and configuration of the API platform so that the API keys can be provided to the end users, and we can set a revocation time or automatic revocation if the time has passed for which the end user was validated to be receiving the data set for. And with the AMS, which is the security and governance layer, to enable role-based access for data administrators and also for data partners. Most of the development has completed. Some of the uh, core AMS services have already been through design development and testing, but there are some backend functionality which are already running in UAT, but we will still review them as the API services are developed and they are integrated into a one core component of the bridge system. Next slide, please, Jeremiah. So the last update for Bridge is the UI UX, which is the front end for Bridge application. So that includes the dashboards for administrator, data partners, and end users. Most of the development and testing for the UI UX portion of Bridge was complete, and we have provided the required feedback to our third-party provider on admin dashboards, end users, and data partner interfaces. I will be demoing a website on development platform on GCP right now after my presentation. And there are certain remaining open items which we will be tackling as we move forward, like some specific login, request access, data partner workbench, and navigation sidebar, etc. So overall, we think around 78% of Bridge's technical infrastructure is now in place, but the major area of focus going forward is going to be the MPI logic and validation, deploying and integrating the API and the AMS services, connecting all of these layers through middleware, and finalizing the UI dashboards for UAT and production acceptance. Jeremiah, do you mind if I took over the screen share for a minute to demo? Okay, so this is the administrator dashboard. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yeah, that's
I
right.
can. Okay. So this is the administrator dashboard of the Bridge system. You can see on the left pane, we have the account management, AMS, messaging, matching as a service, messaging, and glossary. On the activity log page of the dashboard, you can see these are all seed or sample data set that we have seeded into the current environment. And if I go into one of these, you'll be able to see how request actually looks like. So the administrator will be able to see who requested the data set, what was the use case for which the data was requested, the date when it was requested, and the expiration date, which we will be deciding based on the API key that was generated for the user, the total number of rows that this request is pulling, and a sample number of rows for each of the tables from this from where this request is pulling the data set from. So these are all sample data set. There's no PII information in these, and with this the administrator can go back to the dashboard, look into other data set, and There's also the account management where the administrator will be able to see how many users are currently active, what are the roles assigned to each of these users, their email address, name, etc. And there I'll go into the AMS, which is the authority management system. Currently, there are no master policies assigned, but based on the creation of MOUs for Bridge, we will be assigning master policies. And based on those MOUs, we will be creating the policies which will be guiding the rules for use cases and services. And if any user is trying to access a request, the administrator will be able to see their access request on this dashboard page. So if you see one of these have been approved and one of them have been denied, I can still activate that on administrator side, and only when that activation has completed, only then the data flow will be working for the end user. But whenever the administrator has closed this, the data will not be flowing for the end user who is trying to access this. And this is how it will be working for the data partners as well. If they feel or see that some of the data that they are supplying is not ready for Bridge, they can turn the data flow for their data sets only on the Bridge platform, and the data flow will be paused until the data partner turns it on. And moving on to some of the supporting instances of Bridge, like the support page where users can create support requests for any of the issues that they might be facing, and glossary, which will be showing all the common questions related to the application so that the user can service their request, or they can create a support request in case they are facing any issues. So with that, I conclude my update for the meeting. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Okay. Back to you, Jeremiah.
Thank you. Yeah. One second. I think I'm back here. Now I'm going to display. Sorry, one second. Okay. Okay, passing it over to the research update, over to Ari. Do you want to start us off?
Yeah, thank you, Jeremiah. So we have some research updates. I'm going to turn it over to the various researchers to talk about their projects, and we'll start with Karen.
Thank you, Ari. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is the education and wage outcomes for STEM students. And STEM students for this research is defined as students who declare their major as a STEM major the first time that they declare the major. And right now, we're working on the data narrative, and it is undergoing internal reviews and implementing feedback from internal reviews. And also for this one, we'll be trying to submit this one to an academic journal for publishing. So also we're working on editing down the UDRC version of this report to meet the requirements of the journals that we will be submitting to. So hopefully we'll be able to update you on that next time we meet. And then the next one that I'm going to talk about is licensed employment. So this one is going to look at higher education to licensure and also the wage outcomes for jobs that require licensing. So as of right now, initial descriptive and modeling is completed, and we will be meeting with our data partners in July sometime. So please be on the lookout for an invite. So that will be DWS, DOC, and also USHI. And finally, the last one I will talk about is a A-series research on adult learners. So this one is going to look at the outcomes of returning adult learners So that is defined as someone who left their post-secondary education for 2 years or more and then later returned to USHI. Right now, it is also undergoing internal review. So also the feedback from internal review is being implemented. And then once that is done, it will undergo other reviews as needed. And I will turn the time over to Connor.
All right, thank you, Karen. So I'm going to start off with RA 23, which is looking at the uh, relationship between changing employers and wages. Common knowledge or research has found that changing employers is found to have an increase in increase in wages. So we wanted to look at this for our USHI graduates. This is currently going under our internal review. And then as the next steps go on, I'll implement internal reviews and then it'll head out to the data partners for their thoughts and questions. Next slide, please. Next project that I am working on is looking at children that participated in the Ages and Stages questionnaire and their early primary school outcomes. Uh, a lot of research has shown that ASQ has an adequate predictive value in predicting early childhood or early educational outcomes. So this is something that we were very keen on looking into. Currently, this is going under the internal review. And again, like the other one, as the internal review goes on, uh, I'll implement the comments and then it'll head out to the data partners. And then lastly, this is a project from our A series. This one is looking at the investigate state's impact on retaining out-of-state students from UC schools in Utah's workforce after graduating. This is currently undergoing internal review, and it should be going to external review relatively soon. I believe I'm going to be handing it off to Alicia now.
Thanks, Connor. Let's see. The first update I have is on engineering pathways. And for this one, it's currently in internal manager review. Excuse me. And I'll also be presenting this one at a conference in July. And so once manager review is complete, you guys should see that soon for external review. Next slide, please. And then for RA 27, this one is on high school math course taking patterns. Currently, that one's in data collection. We have initial partner meetings scheduled as well with some of you. And so, yeah, that is currently underway. Next slide, please. And then finally, program outcomes. So this is an A series that was related to some requests by the legislature and OLAG, and has been split into two portions, but both of those portions are currently undergoing internal review. And so you should see those, partners should see those pretty soon as well. And I believe that's it for mine.
Great. Thank you, Karen, Connor, and Alicia. So next, I'll give a quick update on some data requests. So we've completed a couple data requests. One looks at kind of how CTE is related to later outcomes for Native American Indigenous students. This one was used as part of a dissertation for a recently graduated PhD. And then we have our other one on the economic impacts of the University of Utah and UTU. So this one we've transmitted. This is looking at how, this is a contract work with Kempsey Gardner that USHE has undertaken, or that Kempsey Gardner has undertaken for USHE, excuse me. Um, and our part of this is fairly narrow. It's basically, what students are earning and how kind of bringing in out-of-state students as well helps with the local economy. Ongoing requests, we are now working on one from ASQ and early education outcomes. This sounds similar to Connor's research. It's fairly different, actually, despite, ASQ and early education outcomes. And the next one, we are in even earlier stages, similar to the previous economic impact of the two institutions. This one's going to be looking at the economic impacts of the system as a whole. Again, this one's Kempsey Gardner, or both these two ongoing requests are from Kempsey Gardner, just different researchers in there. Not pictured, we also had our annual bagels and research. It went well. I think our goal is to do that now every year. I know there are representatives from many of the organizations there this year. We really appreciate having everyone there. I think everyone appreciates being able to share the research and hear about it. And it does help keep, the UDRC data and research, and then our partners out in the community as well. So, and those are going to be my updates for data requests and my team's updates for their research. Any questions for any of them or us before I turn it over? Okay. Thank you all. Jeremiah, back to you.
Great. Yeah, I'm going to pass it over now to Brittany for the user experience update. Brittany?
Hi, everyone. So for the UX updates today, I'm going to share our new UDRC website, and I'll show a preview of our new P20 First Credential dashboard. So we launched our redesigned UDRC website early last month, so showing it today in case any of you haven't had the chance to check it out. I'll also share a link in the chat. So you can go directly there in the chat, but I'll also share my screen and just walk through some of the new features we have. Okay. So you'll see that we have a new modern design and a new tagline, Smarter Data, Stroker Utah. We also did a refresh of the UDRC logo. So it's still the same icon mark, but the font and placement of the UDRC name is updated. So you see here, this is our homepage, some call to actions to view research or to request data, and then 3 of our latest updates down here. Sorry, just one second. Okay. Some of our new features include our publications page. So you can look at our previous publications through these different categories now. If you're just interested in workforce and economy, you can click that and that will help narrow it down. And then we have our research agenda here. The current one will be posted sometime tomorrow. You can also look at the past research agendas. We have that archived all here. And then for request data, we separated these out into 2 request types, so data set requests and analysis requests. We just noticed in the past there's been some confusion on that, so we decided to break it out. So for the data set request, this is what it looks like. It explains the different steps and then a button to start it. For the analysis request, it explains what that is here, including our data dictionary and then the request form to download right there. This is a new events area, which shows our previous recordings from Bagels and Research, as well as this is where we'll put our registration page, as well as past webinars. So you can see the Bagels and Research page looks like this. So we have 3 years worth there. And then here's some of our past webinars. So every time we release a new research product, we do a webinar with it, and we'll post the recording here. And then we have the resources page. These are just various documents, such as our governance document, our data dictionary, as well as some other resources here. Under About Us, we broke this out into a few different sub pages just to help break out some of this information. about us. So we have this general about us, and then we have our history, explaining how UDRC came about and where we are today. Our team with some lovely pictures. And then this is newer, where we have a data partners page where we put a little bit more explanation of what kind of data we are getting from each partner. So that's our website. Okay, so next I'll show a preview of our upcoming dashboard on Utah's Education to Workforce Pipeline, which features first credentials and main milestone, which I have here. So First Credential, if you haven't heard, this is a new statewide initiative. It ensures that every high school student graduates with their first credential along with their diploma. So this dashboard looks at the different data highlights in K through 12, post-secondary and workforce data within the context of how they are supporting leading up to that first credential, and also how that first credential helps support future college completion and workforce participation. So you'll see throughout this dashboard, we pull metrics from various data sources to help show those statewide trends. And we try to do at least like a 5-year look back on each one. Some of them we didn't have enough data. Maybe it's like 3 years back. But for the most part, it's 5 years at different major points in the pipeline. But the overall purpose of this dashboard is to help determine areas for improvement in early learning to help support first credentials, and also to monitor post-secondary success and workforce alignment. So I'll just show some of these pages so you can get an idea. So for early foundations, we're looking at Acadience reading levels K through 3, looking back over time and seeing the difference here. So you'll notice in each page we'll put the percentage point difference over the timeline that we're looking at. And then if someone wants to learn more about Acadience or this data, they can click here, learn more on the bottom right, and that will take them to the USBE data page about this. For the next one, high school readiness, we pull data from NAEP. Here we're looking at 4th grade and 8th grade reading and math proficiency levels. We have overall comparisons, as well as we could break it through different Utah student population groups. We have a little right up here on the right about what it is, and again, a learn more button where it will take you directly to that NAEP data. Okay, first credentials. This is where we pulled a lot of new data that we haven't really shared before. So here on the top left, these are the pathway indicators for first credentials. So for example, current enrollment is a pathway. Here we pulled participation rates over the past 5 years and showing the difference over time here. We have enrollments in CTE courses. Sorry, my internet's not working. But so the different filters, you can look at CTE courses, you can look at tech college completion rates, general ed certificate completions, as well as youth apprenticeships, and looking at those rates over time. We also include the high school cohort graduation rates over time by different populations. So this helps provide kind of like an overview, baseline look of how we're doing with first credentials. And this is something we can look at each year and see how the participation is changing over time, or the completion rates. The next one we have is college success. So here we have, currently right here, it's on the technical colleges certificate completion time to certificate rates. So you'll see we have it broken down by each institution, as well as the average line for all of them. So looking at 100% of normal time, 150%, and 200%. And then we also have, see if this will reconnect, our bachelor's cohort. So looking at it by each institution, 4 years after entry, 6 years and 8 years. And then we have our percentage point difference over time here on the top left. We also included the first year enrollments at USHE of Utah high school graduates here on the left. Okay, then finally we have workforce alignment. This comes from USHE's workforce outcomes dashboard. Here we pulled bachelor, associate, and certificate graduates, looking at their employment, they're working in Utah 8 quarters after their graduation. And then we also pulled their salaries, so you can see their change there from 1 year to 5 year after graduation. So overall, this dashboard, it provides like a nice one-stop area to see these major indicators and how they're doing over time in relation to first credential. And so this is a preview, so it's not final. So we're sending this out to our partners soon for their review. And thanks to Wei Li, she did a lot of the heavy lifting on this project. So I'm going to stop sharing. Were there any questions about any of those projects? And thanks for your comment, Mark. Saying great website. Thank you. Okay, if no questions, I'll pass it back to Jeremiah.
Great. Excuse me. Great. I'll dispense of the PowerPoint presentation since we only have 2 more slides. The next section was going to be public comment. I technically don't see any members of the public on our meeting here. Everyone's either a data partner or a UDRC employee, so I don't think we're going to have any public comment today. So the last slide is just a thank you, as always. Thank you so much for your coordination and continued collaboration in this project that we call the UDRC. We could not do the work that we're doing without that component, your side of the equation. So thank you so much, as always. And looking forward to meeting again in 6 months' time to provide another update. Hopefully we'll have a lot more to update on Bridge next time, and obviously all research and UX. So if there are no further questions this time, we'll adjourn the meeting. So have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.